Hey there, Cozy Babe, and welcome back to the Cozy Babes Club podcast. My name is Kloee Taylor, and here we love getting cozy and learning new things. And I don't even know what the headlines for this podcast are, to be honest with you. We're still figuring that out. But I hemmed and hawed so much about the topic of today's episode, which you already know from the title. But I was like, you know what, Kloee? Let's just be honest. You've kind of had a few days of a mental health setback, and let's just talk about how to recoup from that, how to recover from that, the things that I'm actually physically putting into practice right now. So if you're going through it, or you just had a moment where maybe your life was feeling really awesome, and then you had a day where you felt mentally unwell again and you feel like you're backsliding, this is the episode that I want you to tune into if that's what you're going through. And if not, and you're feeling super peachy about life right now, I still think that this episode could help you in the future if you already have the tools and the knowledge and the understanding of how you're going to coach yourself through. So let's get into it, shall we? I'm actually going to start today's episode with a little bit more of a personal update, which is something, if you have listened to the first 172 episodes that were audio based, you got a lot of this kind of content where I would just sit and talk about my updates for my life for the week. And I kind of want to bring this back into the podcast because I love sharing things like this. Maybe we'll do it as an end segment kind of thing in the future, just so we can get to the main point. But this episode in particular, I think, demands a little bit of transparency. So first and foremost, y'all, I didn't even know if I was going to talk about this, but I was like, you know what? It's real. It's exactly what I'm going through, and it is a part of my success story. That's what I keep telling myself. That's a really good reframe, by the way, if you're going through it. Remind yourself that what you're going through is a part of your success story. Down the line, you're going to be able to talk about the moment that you're in and say, it's okay. This is part of my success story. This is if you've ever talked to somebody that is successful, that you deem as successful, that you want to listen to, most people have a backstory that they really went through it, and it makes the story more inspiring. So this is part of my success story. We're having one of those moments right now. This past week, I got word from my current landlord that they are not renewing our lease at the end of this year. And I have until around the end of this year to find a new place to live. And y'all know, if you've been long-term listeners, I love this house. I love where I live. It's by the beach. It's wonderful. It's quiet. It's beautiful. I toured the entire place on my Patreon, which if you're not part of my Patreon, what are you even doing? I love you so much already, no matter what, if you're just here listening. But if you want to support me as a creator, I would love to have you over there. You get more personalized content, extra pick a cards, astrology updates. Sometimes I put my master classes on there first, and then I put them on my website later. So if you want early access to master classes where they're also a little bit cheaper, you can get that there as well. So please do check that out. Shameless self promo, patreon.com/Kloee Taylor. Link for that down below. And anyways, I toured my whole house on Patreon. If y'all wanted to see the empty house tour, it's a really cute house. I love where I live. I finally felt in my life, I was just getting comfortable. I was starting to make friends, which I still haven't even done the friendship update episode. That's coming in the future. I was just starting to make friends. I was starting to get out of the house more, trust myself more after probably 3 really hard, shaky mental health years. So to get this news was so disheartening. And it was not what I expected for this year. And I could sit and don't get me wrong, I sat and I cried for 2 days straight about this because I was so devastated, so shocked and so devastated. But at the end of the day, again, it's part of my success story. And trust me when I tell you, I will use this to make content later on when shit actually turns out better than I think. But that's been a really hard truth. And it's not that that has even been so hard, because I'm kind of over the initial shock now, and I'm a lot more excited about moving. I'm super stoked to find a new location, find a home that has more amenities that my current space does not have. There's so much room for growth. So I'm not in that headspace anymore. But the thing that kind of snagged me this past week is me and my husband have been scouting new locations. We've been looking around, seeing where we might want to land next, because the area that we're currently in it is lovely. It is beautiful. I'm not trying to shame it or shade it. I've loved living here, but I think the next evolution of me and my spouse, it doesn't really like this area doesn't really make sense right now. And I think the universe has really been opening us both up to understanding that. So we're looking in different areas, more populated areas. And it's been a lot as somebody that deals with ADHD and getting really overstimulated. And a couple of days ago, I had a day where we were out looking for property, looking at locations, scouting areas. And I didn't have like a full blown panic attack, but I definitely would say that it was like on the verge of like anxiety attack, where I was having to do like box breathing, listening to all my meditations. I was in the car just like trying to stay grounded in the moment. And it was really hard. We got stuck in traffic for, I swear, we were at like a dead stop at one point for 40 minutes. And I think it's because there was like bridge closure or something. There was something going on, but it was just like, I just wanted to be in my comfort zone so bad at home, in my bed, under my covers, and I could not get there fast enough. And I was overstimulated. It was too much. It was too much for the day. And we'd been out for like 8 or 9 hours driving around. It was a lot. And that happened, and all my limiting beliefs started to come up of like, Kloee, you're not built for this. You've lived a certain kind of way for too long, and now this is going to be too overstimulating. What are you thinking? You can barely handle the situation that you're in. How are you going to be able to find something even better? Like all of these limiting thoughts started popping up into my mind and like really messing me up. And so I just want to walk you through how I have been over the last few days, walking myself back to myself so that this doesn't become a story that I sit down and live in, because it's not me. This is not like the highest version of myself has such a grand vision for my life, and that does not match up with it. So that's not to say like we can't have a few down days. I think that it's normal. It's a huge normal part of the human experience to have days like that. But I think there's a big difference between having an experience and packing up and deciding that your life lives there now. And I'm a big believer in I will never pack up and live somewhere that I don't want to live physically or mentally. So there's one thing about Kloee Taylor is she has the audacity and the tenacity to always heal and always overcome and always look for the solution. So that's kind of what's been up. So this is what I've done, and I hope this episode helps you and gives you all of the like mindset groundwork that you might need in order to start feeling better. So the first thing I did was, as soon as me and my husband got home, I was in mode of we need to feel better. We as in me. My husband had his own stuff to tend to, of course, but we're going to focus on my experience for today. So we as in the royal we, we need to feel better. So what can we do about this? The first thing I want to say actually started before I even got out of the car. And it's something that has single-handedly changed the way that I manage my mental health. Now, please remember, I am not a mental health professional. My podcast nor any of my videos or content are meant to be used in place of that. So just keep that in mind going forward. Legally for myself, I need to state that. So number one, single-handedly, the number one thing that I remind myself when I am having a tough mental time of it is I tell myself, I'm not afraid of this feeling. I'm not afraid of this feeling. I'm not afraid of this feeling. Even if I am a little bit scared of panicking, having anxiety, falling into a depression hole, whatever it might be. I know those are a lot of really big words, and I've experienced all of them, and they're all like convoluted as well, very convoluted topics, but that is something that I have programmed so intensely into my own reality of I'm not afraid of this. It immediately sets me free. It immediately creates relief that opens up in my body and says, okay, we're not afraid of this. It's okay. Come hell or high water, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And if I have a panic attack right now, it's okay. I'm not afraid of this. And the interesting thing that happens is, for myself, I can only speak from my own experience. When I tell myself I'm not afraid, it dissipates almost immediately. I don't get to that high. The panic never sets in because it's that resistance. It's that I don't want this, please go away, that really makes it amplify and get so much worse. And you start ruminating in your thoughts. And it really kind of like to me, it's like a samurai sword that you just like throw into your brain that says, nope, cut that thought in half. We're not doing that. So I'm not afraid of this feeling. And at first, when I started this practice like a few years ago, I was afraid of the feeling, but I have programmed it into my mind so consistently that I'm not afraid of the feeling. I'm not afraid to have a panic attack. I'm not afraid to have an anxiety attack. Yeah, it's really uncomfortable, but I'm not afraid to be uncomfortable. It's okay. It is okay to be uncomfortable. It always passes and it always will. So that's something that I started immediately while we were in traffic. I was reminding myself, it's okay. I'm not afraid of this feeling. And that really helped me a lot. So getting home, getting out of the car, that already made me feel immensely better. You know, I'm back to my comfort zone, which is my home. And I come home and I am all about taking care of myself. So the first few things I'm going to do is I come home and I get myself physically comfortable. So that means the makeup is coming off, the hair is going up, the bra's coming off, the pants are coming off. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm big on Winnie the Pooh energy, okay? Never come to my house unannounced, because you can guarantee, if you know me personally, never come to my house unannounced, because I am wearing a t-shirt, no pants, no underwear, all day, every day. And if you are going to come sit on my couch, you have to know the reality of the situation that I probably sit half naked on that couch 99% of the time. You know, it's just me and my husband and my 3 cats, and I love lounging around half dressed. That is what it is. It also took me like all of my adult life to be that comfortable with myself and be like, oh, actually, like, I live here and this is all my furniture. So like, I don't really care. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh energy is the vibe. I am Winnie the Poohing it immediately because it is the most freeing and the most comfortable. If I feel like I have the energy for it, I'll get in the shower and wash my makeup off my face, or I'll do just like a face. I'll wash my face. Especially right now, I've been wearing like more makeup out of the house, because when you go to look for rentals, of course, you want to make a good impression and you want to like look your best, all of that. So I'll come home, I'll get really comfortable. I also, and this is just like your permission slip, okay? I love being a healthy girl. I love getting my greens in. I love doing good by my body. I love eating a whole cucumber, you know, like that that guy that does sometimes you just have to eat an entire cucumber. I love all of that. I love keeping it demure, but I am here to tell you that when I'm mentally struggling, I'm making my life as easy as possible. So that means whatever is in my freezer, that goes into the air fryer. So if that's a Hot Pocket, I'm going to eat a Hot Pocket. If it's, I really like the egg bites that you can get. I buy them at Costco. They're like the Starbucks knockoff egg bites. So good. I like those. I'll have a protein shake. If I have a little treat or a snack that I like that is comforting to me, I try not to use food as a comfort tool as someone that has struggled with eating disorders in the past, but when I use it in a comfort tool like this, where it is like in a brief use, I don't really mind. I'm cool with it. So I got some Hot Pockets this week. The ham and cheese is superior. I don't care what anybody says. I will die on this hill. It's better than pepperoni. Ham and cheese superiority for the Hot Pocket. But got some Hot Pockets in my air fryer, you know, and it was the vibe. So I'm not here to be like super over the top, healthy, clean eating when I'm feeling like this. I'm going to give myself every opportunity to feel comfortable. So food goes into the air fryer, and then usually bed is my comfort zone. I've talked about this numerous times. I'm a bed biddy. My best friend is a bed biddy. Like, we love bed. Bed is the vibe. Bed is where I go to recoup my energy. Bed is where I play my little video games on my PS5, like, and my Switch. Bed is where it's at. That's my comfort zone. I love to be in bed. I literally do not understand people that don't like bed. Like, no, it is funny too, because I feel like, you know, as kids, we're like, no, I don't want to go to bed. I want to hang out with my parents. No, 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 no. You will catch me always in bed every single time. So I'm getting in bed. That's the vibe. And the next thing that I will do after I've gotten myself like really, really comfortable, feeling good, I also want to give like a quick mention for anything that is like sensory to you that is helpful. So like smells or textures that are calming or comforting for you. I have this blanket in my life that I've had since I was like 10 years old that is my comfort blanket. It's kind of heavy, so it feels a little more weighted, and it's not a weighted blanket, but really well made, because I still have it like 23 years later, but I'll put that on me or around me, and like anything that can do that for you. So if there's a certain candle smell, or you have like a bed spray or a room spray, use those things to your advantage. Use them to get you back to that state of feeling calm. So after I've gotten myself fully comfortable, this one to me is like, sometimes it's a yes and sometimes it's a no. You have to kind of base this off of your own energy if you decide to do what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. This is where I would decide whether I want to phone a friend. Who wants to be a millionaire? I'm going to use that line of phoning a friend. And sometimes my energy, I don't have it. I don't want to talk to another person. I would rather just be by myself, watch a little movie, take a nap. But if I do want to talk to a friend, I'm going to choose someone that is good for decompression. So what I mean by that is, do not call your family member up that stresses you out, that talks about all the family drama and gossip. Do not call that person. Do not call your friend that puts you in a weird state of being. Call the person that makes you feel good when you're around them, and you have good energy when you're together and they lift you up, and like, call that person. Call the person that makes you feel good to talk to them. I've got a few of those people in my life that I can reach out to, like lifelines. And sometimes the energy doesn't feel right for that though. And you have to kind of conserve your energy and just be by yourself, which is also a beautiful thing. So I would say though, like, just be mindful of who you're going to be talking to. And if you're someone that's like, I don't have friends, Kloee, I don't have anybody I can call, I don't like my family, I don't have friends, I am here to tell you that there are so many options for you that do not include friendships. And this is something that in my own quest for searching for local friends, I've had to come to a really strong realization that it's okay to lean on a podcast, an audiobook, a YouTube video. It's okay to lean into being gassed up by people you don't actually personally know. And I'm a huge advocate for, and I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, though, oh my gosh, please give me that superhuman money. The app Superhuman, I have talked about this app numerous times, countless times, because I am such a believer in it. And this app has single-handedly changed my life every single time that I've used it. Every single time that I am consistently using it, I up-level my life to some like next level every time. And it's called Superhuman. I don't know if it's available everywhere. Like, I don't know if it's only Apple or if it's also on Android. I'm sorry, I'm not the spokesperson. But this app, it's not just meditations. It's like pep talks, and the word that they use is activations. It's for the people that don't feel like they can meditate. I can meditate, but I don't like it. This is like almost more of an active participation. So you can be like cleaning and she'll be talking you up while you're cleaning. You can be about to have an important meeting, and the person that makes the meditations, she'll be talking you through like why you're so awesome and how you're gonna get this job, or like how things are gonna work out for you. Same with like, there's even like before having dinner over the holidays with your family, like centering your energy. Like, there are such like specific, I call them meditations, but like I said, they're activations technically. They're very like specific. And if you just need someone like in your ears being your hype woman, please download the app. It is a cost. I will not lie. It is a premium, but the first 2 weeks are free. And like I said, not sponsored. I would tell you if it was. I believe in this app so wholeheartedly. I have suggested it to every single person that I know. And I'm always excited when somebody I know downloads it, because I'm like, it's going to change your life. You just don't even know yet. So super amazing app. I love it. It's like, especially when I get like executive dysfunction with ADHD, it's one of those apps that can like bring me back to the moment and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this ish done, you know? So really awesome. Superhuman. I really, really, really like, even when I was stressing out in the car on the way home, being stressed in traffic, I was listening to Superhuman and it was helping. So like, Superhuman's amazing. Love Superhuman. Fantastic app. Mimi Bouchard is such an amazing creator. I hope I get to meet her one day and just like tell her how much she changed my life. But, anyways, if you don't have a friend, like, there are other options for you. Search out a podcast, search out a YouTube video, be reading some books. You know, books are so awesome. I love to read. And if you don't like to read, that's what audiobooks are for, bestie. So like, someone that's going to inspire and uplift you from where you currently feel. And I would start with Superhuman if you're not sure, because I feel like that content could really benefit. Next, you're going to, and this one I know is not something that will be accessible to everyone depending on what your life is like, but the next thing that you're going to do is take the next day off to completely recoup your energy. This is something that, yes, I have the privilege and freedom of doing. So I took the entire next day and I spent the entire day in bed. I was like, you know what? I had a really shitty day yesterday, and I'm not going to sit and dwell on that shitty day, maybe in my journal in the morning. But outside of that, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And if that means sitting in bed and playing video games all day is what I want to do, then that's what I'm going to do. I also recommend, if you're feeling like heightened emotion and you're a video gamer, try to pick games that aren't going to upset you. Like, pick games that are more cozy. I play a ton of Dead by Daylight, and that game can be so triggering. So I don't always play it when I don't feel very good. I will play cozier games like Fae Farm, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley. I think those are all games that you can play with other people too. So if you want to have a little cozy game day with a friend, that's like another great option for you. But I will literally take the entire day to just like follow my own energy, refill my own cup, do what I need to do for me. Sleep is so crucial when you're healing, that it boggles my mind that more people don't like to sleep. I love to sleep. I am an 8 to 9 hours a night kind of girl, and I love my sleep. So once you've taken your day, if you're able to do so, I want to talk about now when you're ready to like get back into the flow of life, because you're not going to let this one bad day dictate the next month of your life, because that's not what we're here to do. So the next thing I'm going to recommend to you is actually listening to, if you didn't, my podcast episode number 174. It's called like How to Exit Your Sad Girl Era and Thrive, or something like that. I will link it for you down below if you didn't listen to it. It is an episode that I designed specifically to basically teach you how to overcome and to start building motivation and momentum from the ground when you don't feel good. So if you haven't given that episode a listen, I 100% recommend that you do. It's a very good one. It was very well thought out. I'm proud of that episode. And it's helped so many of you already. So many of you have come back and like commented and told me how it's changed your life. So please give it a listen. And also, I want to take a moment here just to note that I know there are going to be people, and I always try to make room for the no nuance Natashas, because I know, like, I always try to hit people off at the pass before they can talk their shit in my comments. So, and not because I'm afraid, but because, like, I would rather give you your best opportunity to succeed. And if I can talk to those people for a moment, I would like to. So I know there are going to be people that are going to be like, but Kloee, you can't think yourself better. You can't think yourself. That's toxic positivity. No nuance, Natasha. I'm talking to you now. First of all, you actually can think yourself better. However, I understand sometimes you need more than that. Sometimes you need the help of a mental health professional. Sometimes you need more guidance. You need more help. But I also recognize that there are so many of us out there that cannot afford those options. And so I always want to build you up in the ways that are accessible and free if I can. And so I'm here to tell you, living, breathing proof from my own life, yes, you can think yourself better. And the reason why it works is because, and it's not just toxic positivity. If you have some kind of like undercurrent of trauma that needs to be looked at, examined, I don't want to say like fixed, because that's not what I'm saying, but you know, somebody needs to help you process it. Please do that. Please do that. You deserve that. However, if you're somebody that is just caught in a constant negative spiral of why it doesn't work, why it can't work, how it's all just toxic positivity, you can't listen to that. First of all, whatever you think is true to you. You will always find evidence, always. If you look up online right now, some symptom that you're having in your body, you are going to find somebody somewhere that has had that symptom and this is the worst thing that's ever happened to them, and this is what it actually was. You're going to find it. So first of all, stop doing that right now. We not learned in 2024 not to Google our symptoms anymore, because it doesn't help anyone. Don't be Googling your symptoms. Go to a doctor if you are able to. Do not be Googling your symptoms. The next thing from that point that I'm trying to make is that what you believe will become true. It is how the law of attraction works. If you believe that you can't think yourself better, if you believe that you can't change your thoughts, if you believe that you can't, get out of this negative spiral, then you won't. You're going to continue to magnetize and pull that energy in. It is universal law. And in order to change it, you have to do something different. So if you want to see big change in your life, you can't do what you've always done, because if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. So if you want to get out of it, if you want to change it, if you want to not let this thing be where you pack up and live for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months, you have to dedicate yourself to thinking your way better and thinking yourself to the next path that is actually going to make it better. Like, do you ever think about how, and do you ever think about how you spend so much time in your day either complaining or focusing on the things that you don't actually want in your life? Let's take politics, for example, okay? Let's take politics, hot topic. I know I'm really putting myself in hot water with this one. Let's take the topic of politics. If you don't want to be supercharged by politics all the time, and you want to show up at like the poll and just make an educated decision, wait until then. Turn off the news. Turn off all of the noise. If you have the privilege of being able to do that, turn it off. Don't focus on it, because wherever you put your thoughts is what is going to magnify. So if you constantly are being flooded by all the political climate right now, you're going to constantly have your emotions hijacked by that. You're going to constantly be in a state of upset and, oh, this side's doing this and this side's doing that now. When in reality, all that does is take all your power away. You are your most powerful and able to make the best decision for yourself, for your country, for the people around you, when you are coming from a place of pure intention and alignment. So when you decide to drop all of that and actually come back here, that's where the real change starts. I hope that this is making good sense. Let's take another example. Let's say that you're feeling a lot of really intense, let's take my example, okay? I start to believe in my mind, I start to have these thoughts of, how am I going to find a better house than where I'm at? The rent is such a good deal for what I have, and rent is crazy in the economy right now, and I can't afford to buy a house right now. That's too out of reach for me. I wasn't ready to move this year. Where am I going to pull money out of my ass for that? These are all the thoughts that would be like sprouting up out of nowhere. And instead, what if the best is about to happen? What if this is the universe telling me, oh my gosh, you're about to change your life so much with this move. You're about to meet your girl gang. You're about to be in a position where everything that you have ever wanted to manifest in your life is coming towards you, and being in that location is what's going to give it to you. You need to be in this area so that you can meet the right people, have the right conversations. Maybe there's going to be a new financial opportunity that's going to come into my life that's going to completely change and revolutionize how I've been doing business. And that maybe needs to be brought on by this change. What is the absolute best that could happen? There are features in this home, though I love this home so much. There are features in this home that are very lackluster. I'm a witch and I don't even have a bathtub. Isn't that bananas? Like, I don't know one witch that doesn't want to have a bathtub. This house has no bathtub. Like, there are things about it that I wish were different. So like, what if my next home has all of that and more? What is the best thing that could happen? What if my next landlord is like the coolest landlord ever? What if my next landlord is somebody that like watches my content and is like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. I want to give you an even less rate on your rent, and like, don't even worry about it. In fact, let's put you on a plan for like leasing to own. Like, what's the best that could happen? You know what I'm saying? So reframing your thoughts, asking yourself what is the best that could happen, and trusting that. that is what is going to magnetize that towards you. There aren't just lucky people. There aren't just people that are good and so they get good things. If that were true, we wouldn't have billionaires that do really corrupt shit. It like that doesn't matter. Oh, don't even get me started on like how your worth, it doesn't even factor into what you're going to receive. So many of us are so tied to like, I need to be worthy of good things. And that keeps you stuck in this like downward spiral. Nah, your worth was never factored in. If that were the case, we wouldn't have so much corruption in the world and people wouldn't be getting paid or having all these amazing opportunities available to them when they're doing shitty things. Your worth was never a part of it. You never needed to be a really good person. I mean, it's better if you are, in my opinion, because you're able to spread more of that around. But anyways, I know I kind of just went on like a huge tangent right now. I went on like a really big ADHD tangent, but my point is that you actually can think yourself into the next good thought. You can think yourself into having better thoughts. You can think yourself there. And I hear that all the time, and it almost pisses me off when people are like, I can't just not think about it. Actually, you can. You can just decide, you know what, my mind, I see that it's kind of going off in this direction. How can I pull my mind back from that direction and focus on something else? And I also do this in my own life. If my mental health is real bad, I will pull out a Lego set. Like, I will pull out a Lego set and I will start building Legos because it forces my mind to have to not look at the downward spiral that I've been on and think about something else. Even if it's not quite ready to be thinking about more positive thoughts or things that I actually want to happen in my life. I feel like this is like a whole other episode, I think, in terms of like taking your power back and deciding to stand in your power instead of your fear. But that's really what I'm getting at, is when you're having like a mental setback, in order to not let it control you and push you even lower into the ground, which like sometimes you do need to hit rock bottom. Sometimes rock bottom is inevitable, and from rock bottom, things only do improve. Honestly, I wish rock bottom on everyone, not because I want you to suffer, but because my greatest achievements have come out of rock bottom. And sometimes hitting rock bottom is the thing that changes everything. But I'm just saying, if you're someone that has like really been in it for a big extended window, these are the things that I would do to try to make it better. And it is actually easier than you think. It doesn't have to be this whole staircase of a thing that you're going to have to dig and dig and dig your way out. Sometimes it really is just a consistent refocusing, a consistent pulling your mind back and saying, actually, we're not going to go that route. We're going to go this route. And it takes work. It's called work because it's work. It's not going to be easy in the beginning. It's actually a lot harder in the beginning. You're going to find that your mind autopilot goes in the direction that you don't want it to. And the more that you pull back and say, actually, let's go the other way. Actually, let's think about this thing instead. Let's think about the best case scenario instead of the worst case scenario. It's just like meditation. It's literally exactly like meditation. When you sit down and try to meditate, if your mind starts wandering on all your problems, it doesn't mean that you did meditation wrong. It means that you need to coach your mind to come back to the present moment. And that's what meditation is. It's not clearing your mind and having no thoughts. It's, how can I let the thoughts that are coming through go? How can I continue to refocus on the breath and just let that thought pass me? Honestly, I think that's why meditation is so important, even though I'm not somebody that practices it on the daily. Actually, I've gotten better about it, but I wouldn't say I practice every single day, but I do feel like it is the basis of a lot of like retaining a healthier state of mind, because you're able to let go of a lot of the pessimistic and negative spiraling thoughts if you already know how to do that. So anyways, I just wanted to speak to the no nuance Nellies for a minute there and talk about how like it actually can be that easy. I'm not trying to say don't go and get help if you need it. I'm not saying that there aren't more things that can be done. But I am saying if you're somebody that doesn't have access to a lot of those things that might be more helpful, just working with your mind is a beautiful place to start and a beautiful foundation to lay down so that you can start to pull yourself out of that place. And honestly, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I'm going to leave that part of the podcast, and that was too much, besties. Okay, so that's how I pull myself off of a mental setback, and I don't tell myself that this is the worst thing. I'm backsliding. I don't talk to myself like that. So, in review, before we get into tarot smut or self transformation, basically, we recap my week. I talked to you about the crazy news that I got over this last week that really kind of fucked me up and threw me off. We talked about recentering yourself, pulling your thoughts back, changing the way that you think. I think I'm going to expand on that in a future episode as well, because I think there's a lot more to be covered there. I talked about how I take care of myself, the different things that I'll do to get myself back to feeling good in my energy, calming that stimulation down. I talked about phoning a friend, talking to someone. If you don't feel like you have someone to talk to, what to do instead. And basically taking that time out for yourself, and also gave you a reference to go and listen to another episode if you feel like you're ready to actually dig yourself out of the ground and back towards moving in your life and what your goals are and what you want to accomplish and like moving towards getting there. And I'm just going to tell y'all, Mercury's in the microwave while I'm making this episode, and I really feel like my thoughts towards the end are a little jumbled, so please forgive me. I'm going to try to edit this so it makes the most sense. But ultimately, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and get into our favorite segment of the podcast, which is tarot smut or self-transformation. All right. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 3.
It's 2.
She picked smut again. I love it when you pick smut for me, Siri. Makes me so happy. It makes my whole day, to be honest. Smut's my favorite out of all 3 of the options. Love them all, but smut is definitely the best. It's called Gilded Wings, and it's by Jamin Eve. I think that's how you say that. This book, it's a 2-part series, duet. And I actually started reading it with one of my best friends in the whole world. And we decided to read both. So this story, it's fantasy, smutty. Love it. If you're into like knotting, which I really gets me going personally, breeder kink, knotting, alpha omega situation, it's got kind of like a touch of that in it. Fated mates, definitely a good series for you. But basically it is about this main character that she works at this library with her best friend. She goes to the library during after hours, ends up stumbling across a fae mating ritual, and ends up getting like sucked into that, ends up mating with one of the like, not like a high lord. They're like part of like, basically it's like a half dragon fairy king prince type situation. Ends up doing the deed for like a long time, like something like 30 days or something with this person, and then gets sucked into that world. And it's amazing. It's really good. It's really spicy. It's really good. It's also really funny. And I feel like if a book can like get me feeling spicy, but also make me laugh, that is such high praise for any author. So Gilded Wings, the second one I think is called Crimson Sky, which I'm not done with, but I've enjoyed it as well. They're both on Kindle Unlimited, and if that sounds like your jam, you should definitely check it out. So that's what I have for you this week. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. If you'd like more from me, please check out my Patreon. I also have a couple of courses available to you. My Authentically Aligned, which is a 4-week course. I also have my Vision Board to Destiny course that helps you set up a vision board and also gets you through like any kind of blockage that you might have around making that vision board a reality. To be honest with y'all, I'm going to go run myself through that masterclass right now after I put this together, because I need it right now with what I've been going through. I use my own stuff. That's how much I believe in it. I use my own shits. Also, please don't forget to give this podcast a rating. Leave me a comment if you're able to, depending on where you're listening. And don't forget to check out my Instagram, my threads. I've been posting daily content on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram. I'm at Kloee Taylor. I have the blue check mark also on threads. And I don't think I left anything out, but I love you so much. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I will talk to you next Sunday. Bye.